Hello and welcome to another exam paper walkthrough. Today we are looking at the GCSE Maths June 24 paper 2F, and this is kind of a preparation paper, and I've called this a Sunday paper. So what I've done is I've taken all of the very likely topics and I've looked at kind of a more straightforward version of the paper, and I recommend this for the night before. So in a theory that's tonight, and it should just build a bit of confidence and cover the key skills that are going to be on there. It is taken from very likely topic lists produced from First Class Maths, fantastic revision site. Check out their papers if you've not already. If you find this video useful, please do make sure you subscribe if you like. And also in subscribing, you will get automatic updates of when my paper 3 videos become available. So this is a copy of the paper. So I've written this based on very likely topics based on First Class Maths First paper 1 analysis, and this is designed as a Sunday night paper. It's just a final practice where I've taken a lot of the difficulty out of the questions and I've just concentrated on the kind of the more straightforward ones based on what's likely to appear tomorrow. There's a full breakdown of how that works in terms of these are the topics that I've said are very likely or highly likely. No guarantees that these will be on, and then this is the actual breakdown question by question of the topics and where they appear or what paper series they come from. So question 1, write down 2 factors of 12. So 2 factors of 12, there's going to be quite a few for you to pick from if I go doing them as factor pairs. 1 times 12 is 12, 2 times 6 is 12, 3 times 4 is 12. So any 2 of those will be absolutely fine. I'm going to go 1 and 2 because it doesn't ask for a pair. So question 2, write down a number in each box to make the calculation correct. 56.3 plus blank equals 100. Well, this is a calculator paper. We're all more than capable of doing it without a calculator, but we don't get any marks for that. So just we're looking, I think it will be 43.7, but nothing wrong with using your calculator to check that. And even if I can do it in my head, I would always check it anyway. So 43.7. For the second one, 2 over 7 plus blank equals 1. So we're adding, so in effect you would do 1 take away 2 over 7, but it should be 5 over 7. So that's going to be 5 over 7. Okay, question 3, write 478 to the nearest 100. So it's either close to 400 or 500. The tens unit is a 7, so it's close to 500, so that's going to be 500. Question 4, cornflakes are sold in 2 sizes of boxes. Small box is 450 grams and a large box is 750 grams. Ray buys 3 small boxes of cornflakes and some large boxes of cornflakes. In total, he buys 5,850 grams of cornflakes. Work out the number of boxes that Ray buys. So I want to do 5,850 minus 3 lots of the small boxes, so minus 3 times by 450. And then in effect, what I want to do is then divide my answer by 750. I can do it as 2 steps if I want to, but there's nothing wrong with doing it as a single step. So 5,850 minus 3 times 450. And divide that answer by 750. Gives me 6. So 6 boxes. Okay, question 5. Harry has 20 sweets. He gives 7 of the sweets to Nadia. What fraction of the 20 sweets does Harry now have? Well, if Harry started with 20 and he's taken away 7, he's now got 13. So what fraction of the 20 sweets does Harry now have? He has 13 out of 20. So question 6. 2 pens cost £2.85, £2.38. 5 pen folders cost £5.60. Ben wants to buy 20 pens and 20 folders. He only has £50. Does Ben have enough money to buy 20 pens and 20 folders? You must show how you got your answer. So the real common way here is to work out the price of one pen and times it by 20, the price of one folder and times it by 20, and then add them together. I'm going to do it slightly differently. So if I've got to pay £2.38 for 2 pens, then I can just times that by 10, or in effect do 20 divided by 2 times by £2.38, and I'll do a similar thing with the folders. So 20 divided by 5 is going to be 4, so I need 4 lots of £5.60. And that will give me a price for the 20 of each. So on my calculator, I'm going to do 20 divided by 2 is 10, but I've shown what I've done there, times by £2.38, plus 20 divided by 5 is going to be 4, times by £5.60. And that gives me a total of £46.20. So does Ben have enough? Yes, as £46.20 is less than £50. And that's what I would do for that question. Question 7. Here are the first 4 terms of a sequence. Write down the next term in the sequence. So this sequence is going up by what looks like 7. So the next term would be 7 more, so it would be 30. Explain how you got your answer. I added 7 to the last term. Work out the 10th term of this sequence. So I could carry on adding 7 until I got to 10 times. Or alternatively, I could say that the nth term is going to be 7n because of the difference of 7. And then what do I need to do to 7 to get to 2? That would be minus 5. So that's the nth term. So the 10th term, so nth is equal to that. So the 10th term would be equal to 7 times by 10 minus 5, which would be 70 minus 5, which would be 65. Question 8. ABC is a straight line. Work out the size of the angle marked with the X. So I need to do 180 minus 150. So that's going to be 30 degrees. And give a reason for your answer. Angles on a straight line. On a straight line. Add up to 180. Okay, second part. The diagram below is wrong. Explain why. So angles at a point equal 360 degrees. 280 plus 90 equals 370 degrees. So can't be right. Cannot be right. Okay, question 9. Work out the value of x. So we're going to use still angles along a straight line equal 180. So I'm going to say 180 minus 75 plus 84 equals, so 180 minus, and I'll put it in brackets, 75 plus 84 equals 21 degrees. And the same answer as before, angles on a straight line equal 180 degrees. Question 10. This scale can be used to change between kilometres and miles. Use the scale to change 40 kilometres into miles. So 40 kilometres into miles is slap bang between 20 and 30, so it's going to be 25. Here is an approximate rule to change kilometres to miles. Divide the distance in kilometres by 10 and then multiply by 6. Use this approximate rule to change 40 kilometres into miles. So I'm going to do 40 divided by 10 multiplied by 6. And I can do it on the calculator, but 40 divided by 10 is going to be 4. 4 times by 6 is going to be 24 miles. Compare your answer to B with your answer to part A. Very close. Very close. But my answer to A is 1 larger, 1 mile larger than B. Okay, and question 11, we're looking at David has twice as many cousins as Becky. Becky has twice as many cousins as Nisha. Nisha has 6 cousins. How many cousins does David have? So I'm going to look at it like this. I'm going to go D, B, and N. And then actually the information, Nisha has 6 cousins. Then the link, Nisha has twice as many cousins as Becky. Becky has twice as many cousins as Nisha. If Nisha's got 6, Becky must have 12. David has twice as many cousins as Becky, so David must have 2 times that, so we're looking at 24. How many cousins does David have? 24. Question 12, write down 2 factors of 15. So we did a very similar question earlier on. Factors of 15, 1 and 15, 3 and 5. So any 2 of those, I'm going to go 1 and 3, just to keep it nice and simple. Question 13 then, table gives information about the price of cinema tickets. We've got adult, children's and family price. Mr. Edwards has 3 and his 3 children go to the cinema. Is it cheaper for Mr. Edwards to buy 1 family ticket rather than 4 separate tickets? How much cheaper? So I want the price for him to buy the 4 separate tickets. So that's going to be 7.8 or £7.80 plus 3 children's tickets. So 3 times by £5.80. So that's going to give me 7.8 plus 3 times by 5.8. So that's the price that he's going to pay for the 4 individual tickets, £25.20. So how much cheaper is what it actually asks, how much cheaper. So I want to do £25.20, or my last answer, minus £24.30. So I'm just going to go minus, and my calculator will automatically read that I want my last value from the calculator. So 9/10, which is going to be 90 pence. 0.9, so 90 pence. And we will need a unit here, 0.9 pounds would be fine. And the second part to that question, the film starts at 6:45 p.m. The film lasts 102 minutes. What time does the film finish? I'm going to use my calculator function for this. So I've got this neat function on my calculator where if I type these in as times, using the time function, so that would read 6 hours and 45 minutes, and I want to add on 0 hours and 102 minutes, my calculator will automatically give me my answer. So 6 hours and 45 minutes, entered it as time, plus 0 hours and 102 minutes, and it will automatically tell me that it should finish at 8 hours 27 minutes, so 8:27 p.m. So match the time format to the time format in question. It's got it in the 24-hour clock, in the 12-hour clock, so your answer should be same as the question. Yeah. Say that again. You've lost me. What do you mean? Yeah. Still lost me. And for this question, if you've read it slightly differently, so I'm doing this in front of some people, and somebody's just asked me about a slightly different version of the answer. I was just trying to zoom in. It's not. Can I get it to refocus? Not quickly. So they've read slightly differently. Where are we? So they've read this, and they've taken. They've read it as 6.2. And anything between 6.2 and 6.4 would be absolutely fine. So I'll put in that anything between 12.6 up to 12.8 would be absolutely fine as your answer. In fact, the mark scheme says accept anything in the range of 12.6 to 12.8. Just lost my mouse. Okay, question 15. The first term of a sequence is the number 24. The term-to-term rule for this sequence is add 8. Josie says no number in the sequence is in the 5 times table. Give an example to show that Josie is wrong. Okay, so we've got a few options for how we would probably do this. I think probably the most straightforward way is to carry on with that until we get a multiple of 5. So if I just start the sequence. So 24, 32, and then 80. So 80 is a multiple of 80 is in the 5 times table. Give an example to show that Josie is wrong. Sorry, that was 40, not 80. So 40 would be my first example. I could have picked another one, so I could have carried on. I think 80 would also be an example, but I'm going to stick with that one for now. Is 85 a number in the sequence? Give a reason for your answer. So I'm going to say that the nth term for this sequence is going to be equal to, so the nth term for this sequence is going to be equal to 8n because of the add 8, and then plus, I would need to add on 16 to get from 8 to 24, so that's the nth term. And I really want to see whether 8n plus 16 can be equal to 85 and give myself a whole number. So if I minus 16 from both sides, I'd get 8n is equal to 85 take away 16 is going to be equal to 69. And then if I divide both sides by 8, that would give me n is equal to, so divided by 8. Actually, I want it as a mixed fraction, really. So 8 and 5/8. 8 and 5/8. So is it a reason? No. N would need to be a whole number, or an integer would need to be an integer for 85 to be in the sequence. Okay, question 16, write 19% as a fraction. Well, that's going to be 19 over 100, and then I'd simplify it if I could, but 19 is a prime number, so it's going to be just 19 over 100. Nothing more than that. Okay, question 17. There are only red counters, blue counters, green counters in a bag. The number of red counters to the number of blue counters to the number of green counters is 2 to 16 to 7. What fraction of the counters in the bag are green? So if I go again, red to blue to green, my ratio is 2 to 16 to 7. Well, that means that I've got 2 plus 16 plus 7 parts. So I've got a total of 25 parts. And I want what fraction of them are green, so that would be 7 out of 25. That's not very good, 25. Let's rewrite that. Okay, question 18. Right, correct to the nearest 10. So correct to the nearest 10, it's either going to be 1,470 or 1,480, and it's going to be because of the ones unit being greater than 5, it would be close to the next one up. So it'd be 1,480. Okay, question 19. Here is a centimetre grid. Write down the coordinate of point A. So point A is at, we always read our x value first of all, so that would be 3, 2. For the next part, on the grid, mark with a cross, the coordinate -4, 3. So -4, 3. So -4 on my x-axis, 3 on my y-axis would be that coordinate there. Label the point B. On the centimetre, on the grid, draw the circle with a centre of 1, -1 and a radius of 4. So I need to start with the centre of 1 - 1 first of all. So 1 - 1 is going to be that coordinate there. And then I need a 4 centimetre circle. So using a compass, I'm going to mark on the points, but I'm going to be drawing a circle with a radius of 4. So I'm just marking on the points that it should definitely go through, because I don't have a compass on my laptop, unfortunately. So I'm after a circle that goes through all of those points. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you should have a useful compass. I'm going to try and bring in a circle and put it in the right position. Right. So I just want to make that a bit see-through. There we go. So that's going to be my circle with a centre of, did I misread that? No, there we go. Centre of 1 - 1, 1 - 1, and a radius of 4 centimetres. Yeah, so that's going to be my circle. Okay, and then question 20, here is a list of numbers. Bridget says, to work out the median, you find the middle number. So the median is 17. Bridget is not correct. What is wrong with Bridget's method? So she's got this part, you do find the middle number, but she's missed out the first step. So the numbers need to be in size order first. So the numbers need to be in size order first. And part B, work out the range of the numbers in the list. So the range is always going to be the largest number, take away the smallest number. So let's just scan. I think it's 22, take away 12, which would be 10. So the range of values is 10. Work out the mean from this list. So I'm going to add all these numbers together. So I'm going to show it up here, just because I don't want to write out all those numbers lower down, and it's perfectly fine to do it there. And those numbers add up to 112, and then I'm going to show what the mean is down here. So I'm going to do 112 divided by the number of numbers. How many numbers have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers, so divided by 7. So 16. So question 21, 4 students play a game. The table shows the number of points each student has. So we've got number of points and then A, B, C, D. B has more points than D. Work out how many more points. So how many more has B got than D? So we're doing 121 minus 19, which is going to give us 102. Work out the mean number of points. So I'm going to add the 4 together. So 143 plus 121 plus 45 plus 19. And then I need to divide that by the number of players, so divide that by 4. So I'm going to do it just like that. There's nothing wrong with doing it as 2 steps, but my calculator will do all of that work for me. So 45 plus 19, bit of a dodgy 9 there written by me, divided by 4, gives me 82. So the mean is going to be 82. Question 22. You can use this rule to work out the total hire charge in pounds for hiring a 3D printer for a number of weeks. So total charge in pounds, number of weeks times by 70 plus 50. Mia wants to hire a 3D printer for 4 weeks. Work out the total charge. So the total charge is going to be equal to number of weeks, so 4 times by 70 plus 50. And again, use your calculator for that. 4 times by 70 plus 50 is going to give us 330. And for part B, Z hires the 3D printer. The total charge is 680. Work out how many weeks he's had it for. So I'm going to say that the total charge 680 is equal to not 4, the number of weeks times by 70 plus 50. So to solve that, I'm going to minus 50 from both sides first of all. That would give me 630 is equal to, I'm going to rewrite, well, no, I'll keep it like that. And then I want to divide both sides by 70 to get rid of the times by 70. So that's going to be 9. 9 weeks. Question 23. Charlie cycles to her friend's house. She stays at her friend's house for a number of minutes. Then she cycles home. Here is the travel graph for her journey. Okay. How many minutes did Charlie stay at her friend's house? So we stayed from 8:30 up to 8:45, so 15 minutes. We'll do 8:45 minus 8:30, so 15 minutes. How far is Charlie from her home at 8:50? So 8:50 is this time here, and then the distance from home. So I'm going up to my graph and then across. So this is going up in 2s, so 4.6 kilometers. And then the final part, work out Charlie's speed in kilometers per hour for the first 20 minutes of her journey. So the first 20 minutes, she's traveled 4 kilometers. So the first 20 minutes is equal to 4 kilometers. So if I want it in 60 minutes, I need to times that by 3. So if I times by 3 here as well, that's going to be 12. So if it's 12 kilometers in 60 minutes, that's 12 kilometers per hour. Right, question 24, work out 1/6 of 66. So 1/6 times by 66 is the same as 66 divided by 6, so that will be 11. And question 25, here is the gauge for a fuel tank of a car. The fuel tank holds 52 when full. The tank is a quarter full. I'll work out how many more litres are needed to fill up the tank. In effect, I need to do 52 divided by 4 times by 3, because I want 3/4. So 52 divided by 4 times by 3 gives me 39 more litres are needed. Right, question 26. Write the number in standard form. So I need to put a decimal point somewhere to make it a number between 1 and 10. So in this case, between the 7 and the 5. So 7.547 times 10 to there. And I've needed to move that decimal point from there to there. So I've moved it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. So it would be -5. Right, there's an ordinary number, so I need to move the decimal point 4 places back. So that's going to be 3, 4, 2, and then that's moving it. If it was there 2 places back, I need to move it another 2 places back, so it would be there. And then the final part, work out. So I'm going to use the standard form button on my calculator, which is this button here, and I'm going to type it in just like that. So fraction 2.3 times by 10 to the 4 times by 6.7 times by 10 to the 3 divided by 5 times by 10 to the minus 8. Double check I've typed it incorrectly. I normally like to put brackets around here and here, but I don't really need to. So that's going to give me 3.082 times 10 to the 15. So I'm going to say that I use my calc, times by 10 to the x button, just to show what I've done. So I'm looking at 3.082 times by 10 to the 15. Okay, question 27. A path is made of white tiles and grey tiles. A quarter of the tiles are white. Write down the ratio of white tiles to the ratio of grey tiles. So we've got white to grey, and we've got a quarter of them are white, which would mean 3/4 are grey, so that's going to be 1 to 3. And there are a total of 56 tiles. Work out the number of grey tiles. So we've got white to grey in the ratio 1 to 3, and we know that there are a total of 56, but there are 4 parts, so each part is going to be worth 56 divided by 4, which I think is 14. So each part is worth 14, so 3 parts would be worth 3 times by 14, so 42. Right, question 28, expand. So expanding this bracket, 3 times by 4 would give us 12, and 3 times by 2x would give us 6x, and then the negative in the middle will stay the same. So 12 minus 6x. Solve, I'm going to times by 4, then divide by 3, so y is going to be equal to 12 times by 4 divided by 3, and I'm going to do that, so that's going to be 16. And again, you can use your calculator to use that, that's absolutely fine. And then factorise, I've got a common factor of 2, so 2 goes outside the brackets. I need to times 2 by 2p to get 4p, and then I'd need to times it by 3 to get 6, and then the symbol in the middle would again stay the same, so positive. Question 29, complete the table of values. So I'm going to use the table function on my calculator. If you're not happy with the table function on your calculator, just type them in each time. But if you are familiar with it, menu table function is function 3, and then the function I'm trying to type in is a half x. So a half times by x, alpha x minus 1. So I type the equation in. Don't need a second function, so I just leave that blank. I want my values to start at minus 2, and I want it to go up to 3, and then I want to go in steps of 1 because these are going up by 1 each time, and then that will automatically do my table for me. First one is in there for me already, then I've got minus 1.5, then I've got minus 1, minus 0.5, 2 should be 0. If I go down to 2, we do have 0, and then 3 is 0.5. Right, on the grid, draw the graph of, so plot these values, minus 2, 2, minus 2, minus 2, minus 1, minus 1.5, 0, minus 1, 1, minus 0.5, 2, 0, and then 3 and 0.5. Join them up with a straight line, and then that's my graph. So we go. Just change the colour of that, match my writing. There we go. And then part C, use your value to find the value of x when y is equal to 0.3. So y is 0.3, so 0.3 is going to be here. And then if I hit there and go down, it gives me the value of 2.6. So let me just show that a bit better. 0.3, go across, hit my graph, read that out. Okay, question 30. There are 800 students at a school. Each student has either a school dinner or a packed lunch. 31% of the students have packed lunches. 55% of the students are boys. 60% of the students have school dinners. Work out how many girls have packed lunches. Your method for this is slightly up to you. It's a 4-mark question. I'm gonna do it as a two-way table. So I've got boys and girls, B and G, and then my two options are school dinner or packed lunch. So school dinner or packed lunch, and I've got total, and a very, very basic table then, just because it helps me really filling in my values. So I've got 800 at the school. I've got 31% of the students have a packed lunch, so packed lunch is 30% of 800. Sorry, 31% of 800. So I'm going to do 0.31 times by 800. So let's go 0.31 times by 800. That means that 248 have packed lunches. 55% of the students are boys, so this is this percentage of boys, so that would be 0.55 times by 800. So 0.55 times by 800 gives me 440. And then 60% of the boys have school dinners. So that's 0.6 times by 440. 0.6 times my last answer gives me 264. Right, and then that's putting the information as numbers into my table, and I want how many girls have packed lunches. So that's the actual value that I'm after. I'm going to do that by finding this value here, and then I can work out that value there. I don't need to do the full two-way table. So I'm going to do 440 minus that last answer. So I've got 176 there, meaning that 248 then minus that last answer, 72. Girls have packed lunches. That's not the only way you could do it, but that seems to make sense to me in terms of how I'm going to set it out and make it clear. Right, question 31. Annie and Lily share some money in the ratio of 4 to 3. What fraction of the money does Lily get? So as a fraction, 3 out of the number of parts, so 3 out of 7. Ross and Dan share some sweets. Dan gets a quarter of the sweets. Write down the ratio of the number of sweets that Ross gets to the number of sweets that Dan gets. So Ross to Dan, and we know that Dan gets 1/4, so Ross would get 3/4. So as a ratio, that's going to be 3 to 1. Okay, question 32, factorise. So I'm going to take 4 out as a common factor again, and I'd need to times 4 by m to get 4m, and I need to times 4 by 3 to get 12, and I'm going to have a plus symbol in the middle still. And part B, choose 2 words from the box above to make the statement correct. 5-way is a blank in the blank 3x plus 5y. So I would say that we're looking at 5y is a term in the expression. Okay, question 33. Here are the types of sandwiches sold in a cafe last week. Tuna, cheese, chicken, egg. 56 tuna sandwiches were sold. This was 40% of the total number of sandwiches sold. Work out the total number of sandwiches sold. We're saying that 40% is equal to 56, and we really want 100%. I could do this in a few steps. I'm going to say if I divide by 4, that will give me 10%. So divide by 4, so 56 divided by 4 is going to give me 14. So 10% is going to be, so divide by 4 and then times by 10. So that's going to be 140. Could have done that differently. I just think that that's quite a nice way of showing it. Right, part B. Of the 56 tuna sandwiches sold, 18 were sold on Friday. Write 18 as a percentage of 56, giving your answer correct to the nearest whole number. So I need to do 18 divided by 56 times by 100 and then round it to the nearest whole number. So I'm going to write down my answer without it being rounded, and then I will round it. So as a decimal, I've got 32.1428 ... show no rounding. Giving your answer to the nearest whole number, then it's going to be 32%. And question 34, expand and simplify. So x times by x is going to give me x squared. X times by minus 9 is going to give me minus 9x. 5 times by x would give me plus 5x. And then 5 times by minus 9 would give me minus 45. Then I collect my centered terms, my x terms, so that's going to be x squared. Minus 9 plus 5 is going to be plus minus 4x, and then minus 45. And then the second part, factorise fully. So these not only have a number, they also have an algebraic term in common. So I'm going to take out 3x as a common factor this time, and then I need to times 3x by 3x to get 9x squared, and then I need to times 3x by 2 to get 6x, and then that's still going to be a plus in the middle. And question 35, we've got a right angle triangle, work out the value of x. So right angle triangle is either going to be Pythagoras or trig. If we look, this question involves 3 lengths, so it's going to be Pythagoras. So I'm trying to work out a shorter side, so I'm going to say x squared is going to be equal to, because it's the shorter side, the longer side squared minus the known shorter side squared. So 8.5 squared minus 4 squared is going to be equal to, I'm actually going to put it like that, 225 over 4. So x is going to be the square root of that, so square root my answer, 15 over 2. I'm going to not leave that as my answer though, because my question has decimals as in it, so I'm going to leave my answer as a decimal, so 7.5. And I am going to put centimetres, although technically speaking, because it's implied that x is in centimetres there, I don't think we'll get a mark for that. And question 36, Harley's house has a value of 160,000 correct to 2 significant figures. Write down the least possible value of the house. So I'm going to do this because I know the second part is the greatest. If it's been rounded to 160,000 to 2 significant figures, so that's as opposed to it being 150,000 or 170,000. So the smallest value is going to be directly halfway in between those, so it's going to be 155,000. And then the greatest value is going to be directly in between those two, so 165,000. and the value of Rita's house increases by 5%. Her house then has a value of £210,000. Work out the value of Rita's house before the increase. Well, a 5% increase is a multiplier of 1.05. So the original value times by 1.05 is equal to 210,000. So the original price is going to be equal to 210,000 divided by 1.05. So 110,000 divided by 1.05 is going to be 200,000. And that brings us to the end of that paper. Just before I sign off, as I mentioned at the start of the video, I took this from the Enhanced Skills Maths from Edexcel, put this together. What it does actually give me, which is quite useful, is approximate grade boundaries. So these aren't set in stone by any means. And like I said, I did design this to be quite a gentle paper. The mean percentage for that paper was 77%, so quite a high mean. They are suggesting that you needed sort of 13 marks to get the U, 28 marks to get a 1, 41 to get a 2, 48 to get a 3, 53 to get a 4, and 56 to get, 57 to get a grade 5. But like I said, that was quite an easy paper. We designed that as a Sunday night workout just to make things a little bit more straightforward. Okay, and again, thank you very much for your time in watching the video. Please feel free to add any comments, questions, or feedback into the link to this video. Good luck with your exams, those of you getting ready to sit it tomorrow. Hope it goes extremely well for you. Please do subscribe if you want to get updates of when my paper 3s are going to be released. And other than that, I'll say one more time, good luck for tomorrow. Take it calm, nice and steady. Don't rush anything, and double check that you've answered the question that's been asked. And see you again soon.